trying different things. You don't have to do what I'm doing. You don't have to do this. You can just make it straight across if you want. That's actually less work because when it dips down into here, you have to use the between the bus. So just letting you know, think about that if you're a cost-conscious designer and you need to save money, and you might have to make designs more simple for whatever reason. You know, less seam lines or whatnot. So but I'm gonna do it this way so you get to see how to use the between the bust. And then I'm kind of reviewing what we did. We used this contour guide, number 6, the strapless. So this is the between the bust that I was just talking about, right? And it's this is engaged when we have that sweetheart neckline that goes deep and shows the cleavage, because we got to take it in to bring it in close to the body right here. So if you don't come down here and your style line is up here, you do not take that away. You actually need that fabric so that it'll fit across the chest, right? So then we took in on this guideline, but we don't take in these guys. So I just wanted to make that clear. This is for the neckline. We use that with the scoop neck. This is called the armhole cutout, and this is the armhole ease. And we use these two with the scoop neck, with the halter, because our armhole got really deep, and so we use these two. But for the strapless, this is number 6 is called the strapless contour. So we're only using this one. You don't do that one, this one. It'll be too tight. Okay, so this is 3/4 of an inch. So, and these add up to 3/4 of an inch. So this takes care of everything. Okay, so is that clear when you're drafting? So, and when I draft it, I trace out my sloper, and I'm always working with the right side of the body. And I traced half of the radius, just the top part of the radius. And then I traced this guideline, 5, 6, and 7. I don't need 8 because I don't have a shoulder. And then I did 4 as well, because this time we're going to use this special dart. Is everyone clear on that? Got that? Okay. If you have any questions, just let me know. So now we're going to jump to the back. So the back, I'm going to do, for continuity, I'm going to have my opening in the back. You could have your opening on the side, right? And then you can do this on the fold, and then you don't have to cut, you don't have to sew. It saves time because you're going to have a seam on the side anyway, right? So, you know, if you want to save yourself time, you can. But I'm going to do my opening in the back, and so this is what I'm doing. So I always like to start, as you guys know, and I've already been told today I sound like a broken record because I keep repeating myself, but sorry. I'll try to liven it up. It's, you know, a lot of this is just repetition, and then you don't even have to think about it, so. Tracing off my sloper, and I transfer my legs. Oops. And I'm going to transfer the top of the dart. I'm going to use 3. I'm going to use contour guide 3. I'm taking it in. I did that on the front. So whatever you do on the front, you want to do on the back. And I also dropped the armhole a 1/2 inch on the front. So I'm going to do that in the back, but I'm not going to do that yet. So just this guy, I'm tracing this. So let's just make sure we have everything. That's all we need. So now, I need my contour guides. So this line here, this is not a dart. So my dart is the guy on the inside with this little T on it and these legs, that's the dart. And whenever you're doing something low like this, and it cuts into the dart, well, that dart is null and void. You can't use that dart now. So we're gonna be using these contour guides instead, okay? So I'm gonna use the carbon paper, I'm gonna trace it off. And I can never remember which side paper. So you guys already did this on the halter, most of you. You should have done this on the halter. If not, then you're getting practice. If you did, you're getting practice doing it again. If not, then you're gonna get to do it for the first time. So I'm gonna drop this a 1/2 inch. And now I'm gonna decide how high I want the back to come up. That's the next decision. So everything else was pretty much rote and given to me. Drop it a 1/2, bring this in a 1/2, transferring all my contour lines. But now I start designing, and the start is how far am I gonna come up from here? So you might only come up just a couple inches, you know, if you want something really crazy. I'm just gonna be kind of simple and basic, and I think I'll go up 6, kind of a standard. You don't have to do what I'm doing. And now I'm gonna connect it. I'm gonna shape it, do my shape. So I squared this off, square this off a little bit more, and do my shape. And now my dart's gone away. Yeah? You guys see that? So now I just trace this contour line, and on the halter, I had you guys cut and tape it together with no seam. So, I mean, that's awesome, because then less sewing and less fabrics being used because you don't have seam allowance. But because I'm doing this design, right, I'm doing this little princess line design to match the front. There's my zipper. So I want that seam. And some of you did this, I noticed today, for your halter top. So don't do the same thing for your strapless, do something different. So if you did the princess line for the halter, then maybe you're gonna do it, you know, all one piece this time. So, so then I'm literally just cutting this out, and then I'm gonna be adding seam allowance. So this goes away, we don't need this anymore, because that was the dart. And now we're gonna put these together, right? Put this away, okay. So I don't want to do that this time. I want a princess line. So all I have to do is take this and tape it and add seam allowance. So I'm gonna tape this down, like this. Just like you guys did yolks, right? In beginning pattern making. Assuming you guys did yolks. So it's just like with the yoke, you draw in your style line, cut on the line, and add seam allowance, right? So if there was a yoke here, you would just cut, draw in your interesting yoke, and you cut, and then this piece you add seam allowance here, and this piece you add seam allowance, sew it together. Simple as that. So that's exactly what we're doing now. So this is my center back. So I'm gonna add seam allowance because I have my opening there. So, and you know, be creative, try something different. I'm gonna draw this out and add my seam allowance down here. And seam allowance here. Cut this guy. Actually, you guys, I'm sorry, I did it wrong. So I need to tape these together. Did anyone catch that?
I did.
Michelle?
Didn't say anything.
So I need to tape these together and redraw my style line.
I was waiting for someone else to say.
So I'm gonna match this up just like we did on our halter. I'm going too fast. Trying to get done before we have to go. Okay, and then I have to true this up. So I want to use a curve. Did you guys see that? I made a mistake. So we have to tape this together first so that we can make sure these are trued up. All right, you guys did that with your halter. Some of you, I talked to you about that today. Some of you didn't true the bottom, and I was showing you that, so I didn't take my own lesson.
Oh, excuse me.
I make mistakes too.
You do?
All right, so I just trued that out, okay, and then I'm gonna, this actually looks pretty decent. So I lucked out down here. I'm pretty happy with it. Now I'm gonna draw in my style line, so you can have fun with it. You can do it straight, you can curve it. So what did I do in my drawing? I have it sort of swooping down like this, so I'm gonna do that, something kind of like this. So that's gonna be my style line, and now I can cut. And I like to put labels so I know where I am, because sometimes these, you're like, huh? What is this? So such side seam right there, okay? And then I'm gonna put some notches, because this is the back, and we're gonna have a facing, right? And I wanna attach the facing, and it needs the double notch. So I want to put that in now too. I need notches on my princess line as well. So I'm going to do my double notch for the back right here, and my facing will get lined up, and I'm going to do my princess line notch right here, somewhere in the center.
How far down?
You can eyeball it. So on the front, it has to be 2 inches above the apex and 2 inches below. But on the back, you don't want it up here, you want it somewhere in the center, okay? You just, not up here, not way down here, it won't help you. The notch needs to help you balance out if there's any ease. So I don't have any ease in this, so I don't need to worry about that. So notches first before you start taking things apart. And this is my side panel, my back side panel, and this is my front center back panel, okay? So now I just need to add seam allowance to both of these, okay? Seam allowance, notches, grain lines, and labels. little piece. Here's my other pretty little piece. This, I want to trim this off a little bit. So I trued that up a bit. And now we're going to add seam allowance. And I know my grain lines. Let's do that too. So this center back piece is easy. We know where our grain lines are, right? Just measure an inch away from the center back, but on this one it gets a little off, a little funky, so that's why I'm going back, putting these together. Now I can find my grain line by going like this. So I use the grain line on my center back panel, and I'm holding my ruler perpendicular, do you see that, to the line, and I'm measuring out. So, and then I'm going to mark here and here. So this will be my grain line on this other piece, and I can do it over here as well. So I'm laying my ruler up on the grain line, measuring over and marking, and I'm transferring the grain line across, and then I can draw it in. Does that make sense?
The question I have is this on the pole. Is this, you cut in two pieces on this?
Yes.
You cut in two pieces on that, and that's your side right
Yep.
there. And then, so you have to have two of those also.
Two what?
Two pieces. Two. You're cutting on like on the fold. But this one you have.
They're both gonna be cut too. This
Okay.
is cut too.
All right. That's what I'm trying
And
to
this,
find out.
yeah, this is
Okay.
gonna be cut too. Because then I'm gonna have two on this side and then two on the other side
Okay.
for the body. So these two are right here, right? And then there'll be two right here.
Oh, okay. So cut the other side and the back seam.
Yep, this is my center back like that,
Mm-hmm.
and this is my side.
Okay.
Okay. So all you have to do is add seam allowance. So again, you see I'm lining it up on a grain line and tracing it and adding your seam allowance. So if you guys, whatever's easiest for you to do that, I'm gonna line it up here. Okay. If you want to watch me do this and add seam allowance, I'll do this after class, but now I'm going to show you the facing. And again, that's kind of a review because you've already done it a few times. So let's get this traced out. These are my notches. And I have everything I need. So now this is my center back. I'm going to add my 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, and a 1/2 inch here. When I was in school, I had to take notes. Copious notes. You guys are so spoiled now. But then again, it's kind of a lot of work to watch a video sometimes too. It's nice to just glance at notes. Because I watch my share of YouTube videos too, you guys too. So and it's time consuming to watch the video. And okay, so grain line. Sometimes it's easier just to have the notes. This is my name. This is the strapless. This is the center back panel, and it's size 8 and it's cut 2. Okay, so I only have notches here. This one's gonna have notches up here and down here. Okay, so let's draw this guy. The facing, I'm already thinking, while I'm tracing, I'm already thinking about what I want to do with my facing. I got those notches, side seam. And it's just going to be a simple little 2-inch facing that I'm going to do on the front. So I have those two, and I want it to be solid. You know, I'm not going to make work for myself and like make a separate piece, right? Because my which one did I do in class here? So here's my front. So I'm gonna make my facing, I'd like to make this just one, right? And then I don't have to have that seam. So that's, I'm already thinking about that while I'm doing this. And then same with my back facing. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna have two. So, and this is a 1/4 inch. You guys, no one caught that. Because this is gonna get attached to the facing.
If you make these two just one whole piece, you won't have the princess lines.
Only for the facing.
Oh.
Only for the facing. So, and this is only a 1/4 inch too. Because I'm gonna attach it to the facing. And I don't need it to be, I don't need to waste that fabric. Okay. And then this is a half, this is my side seam. And then this is a half. We're just gonna stay consistent. We don't know what, you know, the bottom is. It might be connected to something. We're gonna keep it at a half. So here's my green line. Here are my notches. And my label. And this is the side back panel. Size 8, cut 2. So we have those 2 notches on this guy. I have the 1/4 inch seam allowance here for our facing. And then all I have to do is trace, lay things on top of each other. Some of you might have already been doing it. I'm gonna try to get a nice clean facing. Just 2 pieces, a front one and a back one. And I'll sew it together on the side seam. So for my back facing, I'm just gonna go, it's helpful to overlap these. We'll see how it works, if it's gonna work out. I think that's gonna work out pretty nicely. And tape. And then I'm just gonna take a piece of paper and lay it on top. A green line, keep everything on green. So just use this one. I'm gonna just line it right up on top. And I can grab some weights so things don't move. I'm gonna still need that 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm tracing my stitch line. first. And then once I have the stitch line, I can just drop it down and do a 2-inch facing. And that's all I need. And I can do the rest without tracing. And my notch, my double notch for the back, so I can match this up to the other piece. Now I'm just tracing my side seam. So, and I'm going to do 2 inches, so let's just mark where that is, right here. And now I can just go down like this and mark my facing. If you were going to connect lining to it, then you'd want to add seam allowance. You know, I've been demoing seam allowance on the facing. I'm going to do that just to stay consistent, because usually I know some of you are like, oh, I'm going to do a overlock and I don't need to waste fabric. That makes total sense. That's fine. But for our purposes, so you guys don't get confused, I'm just adding a 1/4 inch seam allowance to the facing all around, but it can change.
Why all around?
Because I have to sew the top to the body, and I have to sew this to the front piece, and this is where my opening is. Where
No, I meant why 1/4 inch all around?
Because facing usually it's only a 1/4 inch when it's getting connected to something. So when you're connecting it, so we were doing on the armholes up here and the neckline, all those really tight curves need to be a 1/4 inch. So center back, grain line, and we're gonna label this the back. Back facing, and this is gonna be cut too, because there's one on this side and one on the other side, right? And then we'll do the same thing for the front's a little trickier. So the back was easy. We'll see what happens with the front. If we can do a 2-inch facing, because we mark, see how far down I can go. Keep this. So yeah, I can just get my 2-inch facing without getting into the curviness and craziness, right? So I should be able to, you know, I can, so let's see if I want to come down 2 inches here. I can get a nice little 2-inch facing in there. But so, you know, depending on your design, you guys might need to check too. There's decisions you're gonna have to make that might not be exactly what I demo in class. And I'm happy to help you as much as possible when I come around, okay, if you have questions. So I'm gonna take paper and do that same thing I did before. So I'm gonna use, I need more paper. Can someone help me? Maybe this will work. No, let's take a big piece of paper. Always try not to waste. So I want to stay on this grain line from the center front. That's the one that you should, so when you're working on the back, you're using your grain line on the center back panel. And when you're on the front, use the grain line from the center front panel, okay? I'm gonna trace my neckline. And I'm gonna measure down 2 inches here. And 2 inches here. From center front. This is my side seam. There's my grain line. And I don't have any notches. So I need to see my front pattern piece, because there should be a notch. If I'm going to do notches here for my facing to connect, I should do a notch for the front to make sure it's, oh, it's right, I didn't draw it in. So let's put a notch right here. Okay, so we can transfer that to our facing. So when we did the halter, most of you, the way I demoed it was a one entire piece, and we had that one notch here on the armhole, and that's where the facing, we didn't necessarily have to have anything in the back because it was one piece. So we want to have a notch here in the front to connect these guys. So that's good. So now I am adding seam allowance here, and I'm going to finish measuring down 2 inches. And all I have to do is line up my ruler on my stitch line and add in that 2 inches. So down here, now I need to kind of get creative and figure out, first I square it out and how I want this shaped. Do I want it to be sharp? Do I want it to be curved? It's up to you. So I'm gonna kind of, I think I'm gonna curve it a little bit like this. And again, like depending on the fabric you're using and the lining, those are all decisions and questions we don't have right now. We're just gonna make a nice lining so it's finished on the top so we can see how nice it looks. So that's my shape. Now I just have to add the 1/4 inch to the bottom and 1/4 inch to the top. And this is cut 2, so I have to add, unless this is on the fold, I would have to add seam allowance to the center front. So again, that's my decision. If I want that seam, again, seams, more work, more money.
What time?
Sometimes though, cutting on the fold is not economical depending on the factory and the fabric and the marker and everything. Sometimes it's easier for them just to do a seam. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make it cut 2 and have a seam right here. So I'm gonna add 1/2 inch. And then I'm gonna finish 1/4 inch here. Okay. And then I think it's about done. So after the midterm, you guys have 2 more projects. You have the knit pants, and then you have the final, which is the jacket. So think about like how you want to, do you want them to be a cohesive collection? They don't have to be, I guess. You know, I don't want to limit you guys. If you want to make them completely separate, that's fine. You are producing a customer profile and a mood board. So if you make that mood board consistent for all the other designs, then you don't have to remake your mood board each time, you know? So think about that. But maybe you want to, maybe you're like, I want to do this kind of style for this, and I want to do a different style, a different inspiration for that. So, but those 3 projects are going to be in fabric. And you're going to have a little more time to sew and more time to like work it through. This was more like just down and dirty, getting pattern making in our blood and veins. And these other projects are going to be more like designing and, you know, fun in that way. Okay, so I hope you guys have a good time with that. So there is my facing. And I'm also going to show you guys how to, when we make our torso sloper, I'm going to let you guys, if you want, I'm going to demo a contour guide for the torso sloper. So if you want to do a strapless style for your midterm, I'm open to that. Kicking her. So it's a little more work to make a contour guide for your torso sloper, but it's almost exactly the same as the same contours for the other sloper. And size 8. So when you do this, when you if you do it, you're facing this way, just be careful that you don't mess up your final pattern, right? You want to keep it nice and neat. So these are my pattern pieces. Here's my spacing, front and back, and that's it.